Oracle Kachi is back with us. Welcome back, my brother. Of course, I know you're probably happy, given what happened yesterday, because
Of
you're a
course,
hater, you're a
of
beefer,
course, of course.
but it's probably the most, I won't say emphatic, but the worst embarrassment to football
Yeah,
in recent years. Maybe
yeah.
bar Germany, Brazil that we had at the
Brazil at
World
the
Cup.
World Cup.
It's an embarrassment, and I strongly feel PSG were disrespectful as well with the game 3-0 up. There's an unspoken rule in football and sport generally speaking to respect your opponent.
So that the guy can
Is
get
a
his own
is a
right.
yeah
And
is a final. You don't you're winning already. You've won already.
Guys,
There's
stop
no need
that.
for you to. Yeah, it's an unspoken
Stop it.
rule. Is that
Stop it,
no?
Debo. Stop it.
Olale,
I don't support that.
Kachi is
I
an
don't.
unspoken rule. Like I said,
I
it's an unspoken
I
rule.
do not support that.
I'll give
Debo.
you an example. After the first half between France, I said France, Germany and
Germany
Brazil,
and yes.
Germany were like, okay, we're not going to score more goals. If not because of that albino that scored the seventh, it would have just be like 6-1 or so. I remember Manchester United, Manchester City. I think he had 6-3 or 6-4, like 2 seasons ago. Guardiola just didn't want to disgrace Man U.
Mhm,
You know, the
mhm,
Man U were wicked against Arsenal, beating them 8-2.
mhm.
Because they wanted to make a statement that killed their morale. You
Exactly.
know,
So what is
it's
this
a
unspoken rule,
final.
Debo? No,
It's a
the
football.
Champions League has shown us that a three-goal lead is not safe. You are looking at an AC Milan fan talking to you right now who
It,
went
Kachi,
into a Champions League final with a three-goal lead
Kachi,
and
Kachi,
lost that same game.
Kachi
When you have the
at
chance,
75 minutes, at 75
it
minutes,
does not matter.
nothing would
Embarrass the
happen.
opponent and let them go back home with their tail between their legs.
They are just
Yes,
a
I'm a
wicked
little
guy.
biased. Okay, no, okay,
Of
all right,
course, you
guys.
are biased.
I'm biased. I'm biased. I
Yeah,
admit
definitely
I'm a
biased.
troll. I'm an AC Milan fan, and it was such a privilege to finally see. Okay, Olawale, please come in. Be the arbiter here.
like rightly said, football is something that is very unpredictable. We've seen teams conceding 3 goals in 10 minutes.
In 6 minutes.
So what does
Yeah, I
it
know
So
it.
I think the PSG team, as much as exciting they are very young and a little bit inexperienced. If we are
Yes.
at this level, we want me to add that against Aston Villa, they didn't want you to force
I can hear Ola. I
the
can hear
score.
Olawale.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
hear Olawale very
The
well.
sound is
The
not the
sound
very
is
best,
not.
Olawale.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear you very
Maybe you
well.
So
turn off your
again,
video.
can you hear me Can you hear me
Can you turn
now?
off the video? Just turn off your video. Yeah, just turn off your video. That should help.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Anyways, before you guys start slaughtering me because of what I said, Inter Milan versus PSG, of course, ended 5-0 in favor of PSG.
Hmm.
Embarrassing moment,
Hmm.
and he's going to haunt Simon Inzaghi for the rest of
Hmm.
his life.
I
And I'm
like
wondering
that.
why they did not even allow Barcelona to just go through, because this would not.
Yeah.
Barcelona definitely could have lost or would have lost to
Hmm.
this same PSG, because I think they're
Hmm.
the best. They are deserved
hello, Debo, can you
champions.
hear me now?
Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
it sounds
Much
better now.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
feel
so
they
let
are
me just
deserved
add it. Let me
champions.
just make that point.
Hold on, just give me one quick second. I think that deserved
Deserving champions.
champions. They played pretty well. They showed us quality all through. They had the worst run in the group stages. They played almost all the big
Mhm.
teams,
Yeah.
and they were lucky. And I knew at the group stage I was hoping and praying that they were not going to qualify, because I knew they had the X factor
Hmm.
in Luis Enrique, and what they did in January was a masterclass.
Hmm.
How a right thinking coach can actually change things for you, right? So Olade, I'm going to come to you, and I'm just going to ask you a simple question because of time. Um, do you think this unspoken rule should have happened, or beating them as much as 6 would have been a great one? Olade.
No, I what my point is this. Number one, PSG as a team, they are very inexperienced at this stage. Um,
Mhm.
as good and exciting they are not really used to playing at this level, final of a major competition like this. And those guys are very young. Now we've
Mhm.
seen teams conceding 3 goals in what do you call it? Conceding 3 goals in
And
10
one
in
of
10.
them in 6 minutes.
If you watch their game against Aston Villa, they had a 3-1 lead from the first leg. In the second leg, they were leading 2-0,
Mhm.
which gives you like that's like 4-1. Nowhere.
On aggregate.
They were just 1 goal to taking that Aston Villa they were just 1 goal to taking that game to extra time of
Extra
penalty
time.
shootout. So with that experience at the back of their mind, you don't want to what do you call it? Take your chances, and they don't want to give your opponent any kind of Champions League. Is not something that we say, okay, we got final this year. Of course, we will get. You might not get the next 5 years, even with a very good team. So that
Mhm.
one chance you get, you just want to kill off your opponents and kill off any form of hope
Mhm.
that you still have. So for me, I don't have any problem with them. I think it is for Inter.
Okay.
It should not disappointing Inter Milan for not coming to the party and probably having their, of course, team just having their worst game of the season about the wrong time, and their coaching ability to
Mhm.
respond to whatever PSG was probably giving them at the beginning. And like you rightly said, of course, it is Ansu it has to be Ansu Flick fault who failed to give us this final, because I don't understand. It go back to what Mourinho normally after that game, I was so furious. I wasn't a backup fan, but I was looking at how a coach just misused a very big opportunity. And this is what Real Madrid does.
Mhm.
That Real Madrid don't, when they smell the Champions League, they hardly make mistake. This is
Mhm.
a Barcelona season to that probably add to their what do you call it? You got the warning from the first
Trophy
leg.
collection.
You got the warning from the first leg. You were 2-0 down. You equalize. You scored 2 goals to make it 2-2. They scored the third goal. You make it 3-3. You went away. You went to play the second leg. Your two fullbacks, your two starting, your Skunde and Balde were not available. You considered two early
Available.
goals. You came back and you were now leading 3-2 just with 2-3 minutes to go. You got the saving grace.
Because of this.
You finally like got the breakthrough from the tie. All you need to do is just to maintain your shape and keep possession.
Mhm.
What does Arsenal Flick does? He believes in philosophy.
Those are
If you look
target
at that Inter Milan third goal, Barcelona has 7 players
on the upper side of the field.
in
Yes.
Inter Milan's half. What are
Yes.
you doing? It was one that denied us what would have been an epic final,
Yeah,
because that final yesterday could have been like a
yeah,
6-6, 6-3, 6-4.
yeah,
But again,
yeah. It should have been. It should have been more
we have to
sensible.
congratulate PSG. It's
Yeah, definitely. It's a good one for PSG. And Kachi, that leads me to the next question.
Mhm.
We all respect Pep Guardiola, and personally for me, I think Pep Guardiola is the best coach ever in the history of the world. For me personally, and I gave him that particular accolade after he won two trebles. To win one treble is one thing. Winning two just takes it to another level, right?
True.
And now
True.
Luis Enrique has done it.
Mhm.
Um, he made PSG a team, not an individualistic team, right? He
Mhm.
made him a team. You can't. It's like the Bayern Munich of old, where you can't rightly place. Oh, this is their best player. This is
Yeah.
their best player. You might say their best player is Usman Dembele, but of course, Kvaratskhelia, what he did to that team is excellent. Dua,
They
what he
do
did
it.
to that team is
Yeah.
excellent. Even Bakola and the show in the midfield, Marquinhos, Donnarumma winning that tie against Arsenal.
Mhm.
So you look at it, you're like, oh, the guy was rightly is argumentative, is objective to say this is their best player. People will argue against you. Like, oh no,
Mhm.
I don't think so. I think Vitia is the best player in the team. I think without you, our Neves, they won't be able to do that. How would you place Luis Enrique after this? This is precedented, but it might be a very difficult one for anybody to even equal in a very, very long time. How would you rate his legacy?
I think his legacy is cemented, primarily because of what he has done and which league he did it from. Let's not forget that we call the Ligue 1, Uber Eats Ligue 1. We call it what? The
The Farmers League.
Farmers League. And he used, and he did, I mean, there's one clip that has been going round, and that was the clips of him watching film with
With
Kylian Mbappe
Mbappe. Yeah.
and passing a message. And we almost looked like the message did not resonate.
Yeah.
And then Mbappe leaves. Let's not forget Mbappe's legacy with PSG is also secure.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
don't get it twisted. He achieved a lot with them. But what he was able to do was to get this team to buy into that word team. That's why right now, from the round of 16, not even from the round of 16, from match day 7, when they routed Manchester City,
Manchester City. Yeah.
from match day 7, one player always stands up. It's never the same player. It's never the same player. One person gets his day to shine. And once it's almost like in basketball, once a team senses that somebody is very hot from the 3-point line, they start feeding him the ball. This team rode on the back of whoever was hot on that day. The biggest lesson I took out of that final was how defensive minded Ousmane Dembele was.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be their single star player, probably entering an ego battle with Cabraskelia,
Yeah.
which between Mbappe and Vini Jr. now, what is
Yeah.
happening in Real Madrid, which I think led to whatever happened to them.
That position.
They instead kept their personal ego to one side and saw the vision. Everybody bought into it. JJ Okocha analyzing the game right on the field with the TNT Sports crew said what Luis Enrique showed is that football, reminded the world that football is really a team sport. And he found the strength of their team. He found an identity for them. We are going to play free-flowing football, but we will defend when we need to defend. They were defensively resolute against Liverpool in the round of 16. We saw it clearly. Donnarumma had an out-of-body experience in the semi-final against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then Desiree Doué came in and just tore the league up. Maybe, yes, Inter denied us a battle between Doué and Lamine Yamal, maybe. But Barca had the same chance Inter Milan had, and they didn't take it.
They did not take it. Yeah. Yeah.
Luis Enrique showed that he learns from his past mistakes. Let's not forget that in October, we were calling this team a team in turmoil. By May, we are calling them European champions now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the single major factor there is the coach, able to right the ship, able to let everybody buy into one single vision, able to block out the noise. He wasn't playing to the media.
Putting his feet down against players like Ousmane Dembele because
exactly
they wanted to cause
he wanted to lead. So, because what are you going to say? This is a winner who is telling you, I know how to win. Trust me, you may suffer for a bit, but come 1st of June, you will be smiling from ear to ear. And he may have cemented his Ballon d'Or chances. So I think his legacy is cemented. His legacy was never in doubt. I'm not saying what he did is greater than what Pep Guardiola has done, but I'm saying considering the league from which he did it, maybe it's a little sweeter than what Pep Guardiola has done.
Olali, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's sometimes we basically underestimate how the signing of a single player can be a catalyst to change your team, right? And I'm talking from the right side of my mouth about Kabasheda, what he did to that team in uplifting them, taking them to that level that they wanted to be, but they could not get to. They could not get to that level without Kabasheda. But immediately he came. I don't know how his training practices. I don't know anything about his temperament. I don't know anything about that guy apart from he's one of the best forwards in the world, right? But how big of a catalyst was the signing of the kid to that team to propelling them to where they are right now?
So signing him at that point of the season probably gave them another option, a top level player that okay, that they have what do you call it, Usman Dembele, they have
Rafinha.
Due,
Bakula, they had
Zaire
Goncalo Ramos,
Emery, all those boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
and even Kolo. But you could see
And
that
Asensio.
Asensio, you could sense that Enrique was probably not too convinced about what Colomwani was going to do. He wasn't probably too convinced about what Goncalo Ramos was probably bringing to the table before then. And Asensio probably in and out. So I think Cavachella probably took them to this okay and probably a little bit more consistent than these other guys. I think it gave him a little bit of option. He could either drop Bacola to bench today. You can start the other guy tomorrow. It's now become more competitive among those guys. That is, you don't like just like what Kachi said. You probably don't need a player among them to be consistently giving good. It gives them that extra option to think around the team. And with Usman, with Kolomani on loan, with what do you call it, to Juventus,
Juventus.
he then shifted what do you call it, Usman to the center. You realize it was one playing like this forward, which probably is the first
Yeah.
line, whatever you want to call it. It was that's where it starts the press from for the team. He lead the team in the pressing. So the signing was probably on point. Those are the kind of signing you do when you must have evaluated your team going into the season and you just look at okay, there's that one thing that is missing from this squad. Just let us add it. And so it was a perfect signing that came about the right time. And for me, I think the biggest point from this PXC
Yeah,
be a
we
couple of
Williams.
things.
Yeah.
yeah
I think
we
it's not
lost
that they are
Olaore.
wanting to win. There are different ways to win. You can, and that's why I say about like sometimes when people say, "What who do you prefer between this player and this player?" So no, you can win with both of them, depending on how you want
With
to
both
probably,
of them.
depending on what you surround the players with. I think that's the most important thing, and that's what this doesn't probably diminish whatever Kylian Mbappe has done or what he's going to do in the
Of
future.
course.
But again, it just showed you.
Of course.
To be sincere, PSG was almost playing. They're almost turning themselves to a slave of Kylian Mbappe. They were so
Yeah.
desperate to retain him. They were doing everything, and they were embarrassing themselves. I would not say they were doing everything humanly possible. They were embarrassing themselves in their desperation to
Yes.
retain him. Not really looking at
And
not looking at okay, even without him. I'm not saying that even without him, they will still have enough players to do or to achieve this. So don't let us forget
yeah,
that
yeah.
they have the highest wage bill
Wage
in
bill.
European football. Of course, those players didn't come cheap. Just like Man City of this world, they can afford to make mistake in them of their signings. If it doesn't work, they sign Ugarte one season, they shipped him out to Manchester United. In fact, there was a game Ugarte didn't play last season. They were asking Enrique about him. He was, you know what he said? He said that was Ugate's best game
Yeah.
for them in a game he didn't play. That's just to show you how he didn't fancy him in whatever he
Power
wants to do.
forfeit.
So for me, I think the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
point is there are different ways at which you can win, and which is like okay, even if this player is not around, there are still multiple good players around that you can build
That
a team around in such a
can
way,
do something.
and you still get
All
the
right.
result you were looking for.
All right, perfect. And of course, Chelsea won the slave competition. I don't know what it's called these days, but they did win that as well. Manchester United disgraced themselves against Spurs. We're not able to talk about that last week because we're not here. And Spurs won the Europa League, which is a disgrace to Manchester United and a win for Spurs. I've never felt like I've never felt in my life looking forward to two teams losing. I really don't care about I really don't care about
Exactly.
Manchester United winning, but because of the folks in Newsinstanta group, I just like, damn, F it, they should lose. I don't care if Spurs wins. For the first time in my life, I support. Okay, second time in my life, I supported Spurs in my life. And of course, so a big one is Kuya to Manchester United. Deal done, seal secured, and I hope this will be a catalyst for United as well in
Mhm,
the coming future. Just before we go on the show, because we're a little bit out of time, Kachi, I'm going to come to you. Arsenal are looking at signing two strikers,
mhm.
and for some strange reason, your brother Ateta wants Sesko over Gyökeres. If you were a coach, who would you choose and why?
I think I would take Sesko because of the better
Mm,
quality in the German league. Um,
mm,
No, I do look for whatever reason, and hey, we just talked about PSG winning from winning the Champions League from France. So I'm not knocking the quality of what's happening in Portugal, but there's a reason why even the best Portuguese players don't stay in their league. They know that there's better quality in other leagues. I think I'll go with Sesko. Uh, as it's Sesko for me is a step down from Victor Osimhen, in my opinion. I think his hold
Yeah,
up play is
definitely.
better. I think his hold up play is better than what Gyökeres will give you. And the only reason why Osimhen's name is not being touted now is because his name is not Victorino. Because if he was Victorino Osimhen, he will command almost 200 million in the market. But if you cannot have Osimhen and you need someone with a better link up play, back to the defense kind of link up play now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Arsenal does the long ball, but there are some times where you have to be pragmatic. Olawale alluded to it. There are different ways to win a game. When you need to hoof the ball and have someone hold it down and get the attacking midfield to come. I think Sesko does it better than Gyökeres. This is not a knock on Gyökeres. I'm just saying because of the quality of opposition in the German league, because on any given Saturday, you can be beaten by the 17th ranked team in the league. That rarely happens in Portugal. We know it is always the usual suspect. It's Benfica, Porto, Sporting Lisbon. Every other team is just making the numbers. So Gyökeres' numbers might have looked very flattering. We saw him do it against City, but we also realized that City went through a terrible phase this season,
This
right?
is
So I would take Sesko just for that
over
reason.
Gyökeres. All right, Olade, what about you? Quickly before we go.
I'll take the Paris. I think Oga is a better player. I think I like a striker who can score from different kind of play or who has a different. I just think is that kind of striker Arsenal needs at this moment. I think for me, Sesko still looks like somebody who is still developing. And at times, when a player still is still going through that stage, you don't know what you get from them. Sometimes they can eat,
Yeah.
sometimes they may not eat, and that's why for me, I'll go for Bucharest. I think it's a no-brainer for them if they truly want to challenge. And the Premier League looks like everything is a bit wide open. They can still probably, and they need to make, because sometimes in football you can't just predict what will happen in the next 2 3 years. Something might just happen. One rich man can might just take over one club. Something. One generational kid can come from nowhere. When you have the chance, you should take it. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
not,
have it.
and I think they need to go back up striker season.
All right, perfect. And that's the last word for today. Kachi, any last word
But
Yeah,
in,
I
in,
can't,
in,
I
in, the,
can't.
in the hockey world before we leave?
No, I'm not sticking to hockey. I'm going back to soccer. I can't believe I'm saying this, but finally, Arsenal is a Champions League winning club. Congratulations to the
Wow.
women of Arsenal Football
Oh, yeah,
Club.
yeah,
They
thank
won
you.
oh,
the Champions. They won the Champions League.
But we've won before. It's not the
I
first time.
I don't care about before. I'm talking about now. And after winning a trophy for Spurs, Ange Postecoglou has been let go. So we are not going to see a better season three over season two like he promised. Good
Like you
luck to
promised.
Spurs and congratulations to Arsenal.
All right, perfect. See you again, next week. My name is Anaja Adebola. It's the
but
best morning show in the whole
before
of
you
the
go, I
This
wanted to add
is
something.
very nice. Yeah.
So, have you guys thought about the victory yesterday and look at um, outside England, Germany, Italy, and Spain? How often do we get champions outside those four countries?
Not often.
In
Not often.
recent years.
Not often.
In
Probably
recent
let's go back
years,
to
no.
in the last
In
30
past
years. In the last 30 years,
30 years.
we've only gotten three.
Yeah.
Ajax in 95, Porto in
Porto,
PSG.
2004,
Yeah.
Porto,
now
and now
PSG.
PSG.
And PSG. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult to
That's a
Yeah.
fight
good one.
destiny.
Yeah.
It's difficult to.
Yeah.
What
Exactly.
another thing
Yeah.
about
Difficult
Champions
to
League
find
is
destiny.
it's difficult to fight destiny. Even the City, Chelsea, even this PSG, they were not that traditional big clubs, but winning it,
Yeah.
they went through hell. They as in
Yeah.
they suffered before achieving it.
I I,
So
I think
Arsenal,
to
I
achieve
think
it.
Arsenal has done their own sufferness. Arsenal needs to
Yeah.
get one over. I just have that spirit that
I
They
think
will
this
get
season
one.
is
I
another
think
2004. This season was another
I think
2004.
I
Another
think I
opportunity
think the thing
wasted.
about I think it's about the
2006.
thing about 2004.
Was it
2004
Yeah.
was
2000? No,
actually
Kati, it was not 2006. It was 2004.
2006.
Oh four,
2004 was
oh four.
Arsenal best.
And they lost against Chelsea.
Yes, yes,
And they lost
yes,
against
Yes,
Chelsea.
yes,
I
yes.
think I think I think typically in sports like our daily lives, you might be good at your job, you might do everything right, but you need that stroke of luck.
Extra luck. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need that extra
yes,
luck.
Like we're talking
I
about
agree.
we're talking about the Celtics last season,
Mhm.
their last season championship, and we said in the East, they they basically
Nobody.
breeze through everybody.
Yeah, nobody came
Once
out.
once they play against you, your best player might be
To
out
get
injured.
injured. Yeah.
Yanis was out, Demelina was out. I think Tyrese Haliburton was out after game 3 against them.
Mhm.
So they had that ride all through until they got to the finals, and Luca did the Luca in the final like he
He's
does.
looking slimmer now.
Yeah,
Luca is looking
yeah. I
slimmer.
hope, I hope,
He's putting in work.
I hope, I
Uh,
hope we'll get a better look at this time. Anyways, bye.